Hello and welcome back to the Helmet Head podcast. And do we have a good one for you this week? Because I set myself a bit of a challenge. Times are difficult, times are hard, and people haven't got a lot of money. And I thought, what bikes can you get for £1,000 or less? And I thought by setting that challenge, I was going to find it extremely difficult. But I was actually really wrong. There is so much choice out there. And I was like, right, I'll make it even harder. I'll only go for Auto Trader, because Auto Trader's normally got more expensive bikes. I'm thinking I'm going to so struggle. And I was wrong again. I've even gone to the point of covering 5 of the sort of bike subjects, the bikes that we're looking for. So for example, we've got a bike in here. The first bike we're going to be talking about is the bike that you can go off and do your trails with, you can do a bit of off-roading with. We're going to cover obviously like a touring bike you can go and do an adventure on. If you're looking for a sports bike, we've got you covered on that. We've also got a city scooter plus a cruiser. And now I've picked 5 bikes, all for under £1,000. And yeah, this is interesting. Not just that, I've sort of tried to decide to go for something a little bit different as well. So not the obvious choices, because I could have gone for things like a Honda Pan European, for example, that you can get for less than £1,000. It would have been absolutely awesome. I'm like, no. You can get them for less than £1,000 currently. They're awesome bikes. Make it a little bit more different. So it's exactly what I've done. So what I want to know at the end of this is which one out of these would you pick? And also, what would be your list? Go hunting for 5 bikes for £1,000 or less in the same category, and tell me your list and where you found them from to make it interesting in the comments. Let's see who gets what list and let's see who would buy what. So let's start with the bike you take down the trails, the bike that's basically on the road but great taking it off-roading, doing some green laning, desert crossings, muddy craziness, river crossings, but also something you can poodle back home on. Now this is a little bit different. This, I can't believe I found this. This is a BMW G650, a G650, right? It's a 652cc bike. It's 53 brake horsepower. This bike has covered 30,800 miles. It's got MOT. It's been serviced by its owner, and to be fair, looking at it, you can see that he's looked after it. So I believe that he has done. Now this bike does tick those boxes. This bike looks like the thing you'd sit there and go, do you know what, it might be a little bit heavy saying that at 650, but you know, being BMW, it's going to last for absolute ever as long as you keep replacing parts. Expensive parts, but it will last forever. But it's also capable enough to be on the road because it's got obviously the horsepower you want at 53 horsepower, so it'll have quite a lot of torque. Then you can get out on those trails and you can literally go flying down there. This bike comes in at £950. And to be fair, if I was looking for something that could do a little bit of everything, but mostly going and sort of doing some good green lanes and hiding away doing wild camping, not illegal at all in any way in the UK, this would be the bike that I'd pick. So that's the first one, the BMW G650. I'm impressed for that price point for that bike. I'm quite tempted to get it myself. Now, like I said, these are all on Auto Trader. They are current listings. I can't guarantee they'll still be there by the time this podcast comes out, or within days of it coming out, because most of these are probably going to be bought. Let's move on to touring. Now, touring back in the day would be a sports tourer, and it would be a big, heavy beast. And that's where I'm going to go with this, because if you're going to go touring, you want something that's reliable, proven, you pick a reliable, proven bike. So the sports tourer, the bike you can strap stuff to the back and do a zillion miles on and still feel like you've only just travelled a mile down the road. This is a good one. It's a Suzuki GSX 1100. This is an old girl, but proven and sweet as a nut, right? It's 1987. It creates 122 brake horsepower, loads of power to go cruising down those motorways. It's fully ready-ish, it hasn't got luggage, but it's got everything else. Heated grips, it's got stainless steel exhaust. It's basically even. I'll tell you how far this is. This has had an old mature owner who's very much looked after it, and he's handwritten a note of all the things that he's done to it. And again, I believe so, because it's an old mature owner and he's looked after it. And old mature owners do that. They don't tell you they're mature if they're not looking after their bikes. So the price though, this is the best bit, right? £795. That means you've got change to go and say, actually, I'm going to buy some soft panniers to chuck over the back. so I can get even more stuff on it, and a big wet dry bag, wet bag to put on the back and strap down as well. And I think potentially that's a European trip travelling bike right there. You could travel across Europe on that, and the best bit of it is knowing that, say for instance the worst thing in the world happened and it blew up and you cried a lot on the side of the road. What happens to me when I'm doing my world trip at the moment, I can't leave my world travelling bike, or what's over on the main channel, all the episodes there, because it's part of me. I love that bike and it means something, and I'd have to pay for it to be picked up and towed to a garage and loads of money spent on it, what I'm basically doing at the minute, to make sure everything on it works perfectly fine. But the thing of it is, this bike at £795, if say you got all the way to say Gibraltar or into Africa and it went bang, you just go, well, throw the key away, I'll go and buy another one. £795. It's a proper touring beast. That, I think, sort of is a bit of what I call like a curveball, because I generally was going to go, I'm going to obviously buy a Honda Pan, European. I've bought one and I've done the four corners for charity for less than £1,000 and proved how great that they are. And the guy that's travelling with me called Paul has one, but I was like, no, don't pick the obvious, go for the Suzuki. Right, this moves me on to the sports bikes, and again there was a choice of a bike that I actually would like to own, but I went, no, not that one. I picked this one because it's a little bit different. Are you ready? See if you can figure this out, right? I'll tell you about it and I'll tell you what it actually is. So it's 1995. It creates 100 brake horsepower. You can get 55 miles to the gallon, 200-mile tank range. It's had one owner. Well, not one owner. It's had an owner since 2009. So it's been with the owner for a long time, is what I'm trying to say. Now, it's got a race can exhaust put on it as well. Its price, this is the best bit, is only £600. There's a reason why though. It has had a very small slight slide where you might want to try and replace a panel, but it's still very usable. So a few scratch marks on it. Can you guess what bike it is? I've actually probably put it up on the screen. But anyway, the bike of it is a Yamaha FZR 600R. And I really like it. It's got that kind of like 90s badass sports bike to it, hasn't it? That kind of thing, you sit there and you could just see it overtaking you with smoke pouring out the back and that sound of woo, and you'll go, look at that bike go by. It's got that 90s coolness, the one where you want to put on the sort of slightly sort of bright green sunglasses and put on that sort of like that loud shirt and just be like, this is me, I'm a 90s boy. That's what that bike like calls out to me, and I'd like a go. I've not ridden one of these. I've ridden obviously like the R6 and I've had one and stuff like that, but never one of these. So that interests me quite a lot. So that's your sports bike. That's if you basically want to go out and you want to thrash a bike for the weekend, feel badass, be cool, wear a Power Rangers suit, make sure it's skin tight, of course, to show the beautiful body that you have, and just look awesome. I generally think that's a really cool bike. So that ticks the sports bikes. That's my option. And again, there was others that I probably would have actually bought, but I'd like a go on this one. That for 600 quid, replace a panel. You can get panels all over the place. Stick it on, it'll look like new. That race can, it's going to sound amazing. Bada boom, bada bing. Right, let's move on. Now this is a good one. I like this, right? So the City Scooter. And the reason why I picked the City Scooter is there's loads of 125s. For under £1,000, you can buy 125s pretty much all sorts, from little bikes to like scooters, just to all sorts of 125 off-road bikes. There's loads for under £1,000. But this one's very different. This one's very special. This is like the ugly duckling of scooters, but it would make a great video if I bought one and did some kind of crazy adventure on one, because it is just awesome, right? This is the BMW C1. What's basically like a car but a scooter. It comes with everything that you could possibly want to cruise around the city. If you wanted to do deliveries, you could go to office, you could. It has this weird ugly butt to it that you can put stuff in. It's 18 brake horsepower, so it's got a bit of get up and go to it. The one that I've the one I'm looking at is 176 cc, so it's not a 125, it's a little bit bigger, what means obviously that 18 brake horsepower has that extra kick to it. It's done 23,595. It's got one previous owner. One. They've had it for years. And the reason why I've had it for years as well is it's not been on the road since I think 2020. So there's no MOT, and also it does look a little bit ropey in the pictures, I am not going to lie. But forget the ropiness, forget the point that it looks tired and knackered, because you get a sound system. That's right, you can go down the street in that beautiful beast playing Barbie Girl nice and loud for everyone to hear while you're bopping along. Not just that, you can even go on a cold day. It's got a heated seat and heated grips. It's got a whole cover over you. It's got a window wiper. You're sorted. You can play Barbie Girl loud all year round, partying down the road, and also pick up an entire family shop or loads and loads of beer and put it in this big ass boot to take back. I love it. I really, really want one of those bikes. I think there would be an awesome video for out of that, or a whole series about beasts like that doing weird and wonderful. Imagine taking that fully loaded off-roading. Would it survive? It'd be interesting. So that is my sort of chuck-in twist of all city bikes. Buy a big BMW C1. Not just that. The other thing, what I think is really important, there's not many of them left. Obviously, they didn't sell many, I'm guessing. But I think they're going to go up in price. When you make it mint, I think you've got an investment. I think that could be worth $100 million in the future. That's another thing I need to buy now, don't I? I need to buy a C1, do an adventure, not do anything crazy on it, put it away, keep it, store it until I'm like 90, and it'll be worth more money than I paid for it, because money goes up. Anyway, let's move on to the last topic. This is the last one. The cruiser. The point when you get to that age where you just want to be cool and cruise. Now, I did it. I bought a Sportster. It made me feel like badass. I rode that bike. I loved it. It's a one-trick pony. It's amazing at what it does. It's not good for doing massive tours on because it hurt my butt. And the position is amazing for the first half an hour, and then it's really uncomfortable. But you look cool. You look badass. So I thought, let's look at cruisers, thinking I'm going to have loads of choices here, because obviously Honda made the Shadow and loads of other brands. Kawasaki made their version, and so did Yamaha. And I'm going, do you know what? There's going to be loads of choice for a ground, because a lot of them weren't very popular. I was very wrong. This was the hardest subject to find a bike for, the hardest. So I went for one that just sounded cool, because there wasn't much choice other than lots of Chinese 125 copies of bigger bikes that look really ropey for less than £1,000. So check this out, right? Check this out. For less than £1,000, this sounds badass. You can get a Kawasaki Eliminator. It sounds cool, doesn't it? It doesn't look it, but it sounds absolutely awesome. Walk in the pub and go, oh yeah, dudes, turn up on my Kawasaki Eliminator. They're going to all go, oh, he's cool. And then you've got to just say to them, give me your sunglasses, pay for my beer. I like your leather jacket, give me that. And I've already got the bike. See you later. That kind of thing is the picture that's going on in my head right now. Now, this is a 1998. This is 250cc of badass power as you're cruising down the road on your Eliminator. This produces 29 brake horsepower. So don't do anything naughty, because you're not going to escape very quickly. But because it's badass, because of the name, because it's so rare, it's an American import here in the UK. This bike came from America. That makes it even more badass, makes it more like the Terminator. It just oozes that, and it's £995. £995 for a 250cc scooter. Like I said, I've tried to be a little bit off the wall with this list. So I want to see people do exactly the same back in the comments. Go hunting, try Auto Trader, but if not, try some other places. Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace. Give me a list, but make it different. Don't pick your straight up choice, because I know, for instance, for the sports bikes I would have gone for the Honda CBR. For sports tourers I would have gone for the Pan European, and for the 125 city bikes I probably would have gone more for either a really good little scooter 125, like, you know, a good old Honda again or something like that. But I went for something a little bit different because it was quirky. So let's see what you can find for less than £1,000. All those categories wow me. For example, when I even put this up on the Facebook page and said, has anyone got any ideas, any questions? I had Fentor, Martin sent me a message and he goes, oh, I'd buy I think it was the Bandit 600. And I was like going, you can't buy Bandit for less than £1,000. And he literally sent me a link straight away to Auto Trader with a Bandit for sale. And I was like, oh, he's done it. He's beat me. But as he was rubbing mud in my face, laughing at me, calling me a loser as I walked away, because I was like, you can't find one. I looked at that bike and it turned out it needed some work, quite a bit of work. Just saying, before you can rub that mud off now and you can give me a big manhood and you can go, Alan, you're right, it was rubbish. But you could get one. That's the most important thing. And again, they are going to go up and go up in value continuously. Anyway, I look forward to reading your list. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Over on the main Helmet Head channel, there is a massive announcement about to drop. A massive announcement that you will not want to miss. So please pop over there, subscribe as well. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. I'm just literally about to go off and ride my next leg of my world trip on the main channel where I'm riding a Honda Monkey bike all the way around the entire world, as many countries as possible, and it's going to get more and more fun. The idea for video 1 is already becoming more and more bonkers. Loads of people are reaching out, loads of people are contacting me. I might even have permission off of the Gibraltar government to go up to what I think it's called Upper Rock or something like that, where you're not allowed to go up on the monkey bike. So it should be an absolutely awesome watch. More companies are reaching out for more product reviews as well, so we're going to have a nice mix coming up after this trip. But the announcement's the big thing. So go and check that out. All the links for the main channel are over in the description. If not, just type Helmet Head into YouTube and you will find it. Like I said, please hit that subscribe button. This channel is growing more and more and more, and I'm enjoying this podcast. If you're a YouTuber or a special guest and you think you'd suit the channel, please reach out to me as well. I am massively open for meeting up and doing some chats and trying to fit some ink in the diary. It's all there. Anyway, take care, ride safe, and I will see you in the next podcast. Bye-bye for now.